Well, hello there. Here we are once again in Grammie's Book Nook for a little sharing time. I would like to say thank you to the person who sent me an email yesterday about my cat story. It made me laugh, and I always welcome the opportunity for a good chuckle. And I have to say that I kind of understand your comment, but we'll just leave it at that. Today, we're going to be reading a book, and it's called The Goodness Gorillas. And this book was written by Lisa McCourt, and the illustrations in the book are by Pat Grant Porter. So let's get started. Ta-da! Oh my goodness, how much clearer everything looks when you have your glasses on. So here's our first page. We've got a teacher writing on the blackboard, and we've got a little girl bringing something into the classroom. It started the day Jessica Dockett brought cupcakes to school for the whole class. "Jessica," said Mrs. King, "I didn't know it was your birthday." "It's not my birthday. My mom made cupcakes just because she's a gorilla." Jessica handed Mrs. King a note. The note said, "Dear Mrs. King, thank you for letting me practice gorilla goodness on your class. Signed, Mrs. Dockett." Mrs. King wrote these words on the chalkboard: gorilla goodness. And I want to spell that for you because we're going to see that there are two words that sound just the same, but they're spelled differently and they have a different meaning. So what Mrs. King is writing on the board is spelled G-U-E-R-R-I-L-L-A. The gorilla that we see in the zoo sounds just the same, but that's spelled differently. And when I get to the page where they're talking about that word, I'm going to spell that for you. So remember the spelling of this word. And here's a picture of people out doing gorilla goodness. I wonder what they're doing. She told the class, "We all know what a gorilla is, but this word, G-U-E-R-R-I-L-L-A, is very different from the gorilla that we know about, which is spelled G-O-R-I-L-L-A. And I bet that all of you out there have either seen a picture of an animal called a gorilla, or you've actually seen one when you've gone to the zoo. This word that I have on the board means a group of people that get together and try to change something. "Oh, you mean it's like a secret club?" asked Patricia. "Well, it's sort of like that. Gorilla goodness means practicing random acts of kindness. That's what Mrs. Dockett does, and lots of other people all around the world are doing today as well. In fact, they're doing it right now. They're trying to make the world a nicer place just by finding new ways to be extra kind and good to people, even to strangers." "You mean Mrs. Dockett makes cupcakes for strangers too?" asked Stuart. "I don't know. She might. Or she might let someone in front of her at the grocery store line. Those are acts of kindness too." here's Mrs. Docket out doing a really good deed. She might shovel snow from her neighbors' driveways without even saying anything. She might plant flowers in a public place for everyone to enjoy, or she might help someone less fortunate than herself. There are lots of ways to spread goodness once you start looking around for them. So here are some of the children from the classroom. They're in the lunchroom talking about what they heard today. At lunchtime, everyone was talking about gorilla goodness. Real gorillas in the jungle do nice things for each other too, said Tina. I saw that on TV. I have a great idea, said Michael. Let's make our own club. Jessica should be the leader, since she knows the most about it. And that's how the Goodness Gorillas got started. Peter came to school early and sharpened all of his classmates' pencils. Everyone smiled and said, "Thanks, Peter. That was a really kind thing to do." Everyone except Todd, that is. He tried to poke Peter in the arm with his pencil's new sharp point. Jessica pulled out a mat for all of the people in her gymnastics class. "Oh my, what a lovely act of kindness," said her coach. Stuart let his little sister watch her favorite TV show, even though it was his turn to choose what channel to watch. And later that night, his sister gave him the last piece of her Halloween candy. Ooh, it looks like everyone's gotten together to do a project. All of the Goodness Gorillas met on Sunday and cleaned up the litter in the park. They were having a great time until Todd showed up with his scary dog, Brutus. Todd laughed hard when Brutus nipped at Jessica's heels and growled at all the children. Then Todd walked over to the pile of cans the Goodness Gorillas had gathered for recycling. He picked them up one by one and threw them all over the park. "Hey, dumb gorillas, go fetch," he yelled. "Why does Todd always have to be so mean?" asked Tina. The Goodness Gorillas picked up all the cans again, but it wasn't nearly as much fun as it had been the first time. It looks like things are starting to spread. Patricia cleaned her room and her brother's room without even being asked. Her dad thanked her, and then he made her her favorite dinner. Tina packed up all her old toys, and her mom helped her to bring them to a homeless shelter so that some other boys and girls could enjoy them. "I'm so proud of you," her mom said. Michael went with his uncle to volunteer at a senior citizens home, and a lady there told him, "You just made our day." Oh boy, it looks like not everybody's on board with being a gorilla goodness person. The Goodness Gorillas met at recess every day to talk about new ideas for spreading kindness. And every day, Todd danced around the group, grunting and scratching his armpits. "Ooh, ooh, 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 look at me, I'm a gorilla. Look at me, I'm a big dumb gorilla. Oh, I make goody-goody with everyone. I'm a big dumb gorilla." "Oh, what a creep," said Todd. "All he ever does is cause trouble." "Go away, Todd," said Jessica. "If you can't be nice, then we just don't want you around." Here we are back in the classroom. And let's see what they're going to be talking about. I think it'll probably have something to do with kindness. One day, Mrs. King said, "I have some very, very sad news, class. Yesterday afternoon, Todd's dog Brutus was hit by a car, and he died in the night. Todd is at home feeling bad and very, very alone. And I'm hoping that some of you will go over and visit him. Does that sound like a job for the Goodness Gorillas?" Jessica raised her hand. Well, it's just that Todd makes fun of us all the time. I wouldn't even know what to say if we went to visit him. "Well, maybe he feels left out," said Mrs. King. "Did any of you ever ask Todd if he would like to join your club?" "Oh, no, he's not a goodness gorilla," cried Tina. "He's a meanness monster." "Goodness gorillas see the good in everyone," said Mrs. King. "Isn't that what you told me, Jessica?" The club is getting together to make a decision. It could go either way. I can understand both sides of this story. Let's see what they decide. At recess, the Goodness Gorillas tried to decide what to do. Even though he'd been rotten, they all felt really, really bad for Todd. After all, Brutus was his only friend. "I know," said Jessica. "My mom could take us to the pound and we could find a new dog for Todd." "Oh, except," said Peter, "spreading kindness means spreading it to animals too. And I'd feel so sorry for any dog that we gave to Todd." "Oh, my. We're just going to have to find something good in Todd then," said Jessica. "I have a plan. Tonight, every one of us will sit down and write one good thing about Todd. I know it's hard, but try. And remember, there's good in everybody." So here they are, all of the club going over to visit Todd. The next day, all the Goodness Gorillas stood out on Todd's doorstep and rang the doorbell. Todd answered the door himself. He looked like he'd been crying. "What do you want?" he said. "We've come to make you a Goodness Gorilla," said Jessica. Todd's eyes narrowed. "Why?" he growled, looking nastier than ever. "Well, let us in, and we'll tell you all of the reasons." So into the house they went. I'm very interested to see what kind of things they wrote down on their pieces of paper. Todd turned around and stomped back into the house, but he left the door open. The Goodness Gorillas piled in, each one carrying a piece of paper. "Todd's the fastest runner in our class," said Patricia. "Todd has nice blue eyes," said Tina. "Todd was friendly back in the first grade," Stuart said. "Todd is funny when he tells jokes that aren't making fun of people," said Peter. "Michael and I came up with the same reason," said Jessica. "And it's the best one of all. Todd does a great gorilla imitation. We want to learn it. We want to learn how to do a great gorilla imitation. We all want to be gorillas. How do you make those grunts sound so real? Show us how to do that silly gorilla hop, said Patricia. And there they are. They're all trying to learn how to imitate gorillas, and it looks like they're pretty happy, having a good time together. Everyone tried to do Todd's gorilla dance while Todd stood and watched them. Finally, he just couldn't help himself. He had to smile. And then he laughed. They weren't making fun of him. They really wanted to learn. When he couldn't resist any longer, Todd turned himself into a gorilla too, and everyone followed his lead. They all grunted and hopped and scratched and screeched until they fell, out of breath and laughing. They fell into a big heap on the floor. Oh, I think they have a surprise. Jessica said, "Now that you're one of us, Todd, we have a surprise for you." She took Todd's arm and led him out into his backyard, where the Goodness Gorillas had tied a furry, funny, black and white little puppy. Todd ran over to the puppy and knelt down beside her, hugging her and stroking her fur. Big tears filled his eyes when he looked up at his new friends. "I'm sorry I made fun of you," he said. "I didn't think you would ever be this nice to me. Can I really join your club?" The puppy jumped up and down. "Look, she wants to be a gorilla too," said Tina. "That's what I'll name her," said Todd. "Her name can be Gigi, for Goodness Gorillas, and she can belong to the whole club, like a mascot." Everyone loved that idea. Oh, it looks like the Goodness Gorillas are keeping up with their good plan. I see lots of good things happening in their community. The Goodness Gorillas signed up more and more members. Mrs. King's class became a nicer place. And then the school became a nicer place. And then the town did. As the Goodness Gorillas grew up and went to different colleges and traveled to different cities, the whole world became a nicer place. Well, that was the end of the actual story. But on the last page, this is a funny thing. There's a little dog on the page, and it says, "I'm a Goodness Gorilla." And there's a big sign that says, "Jessica Dockett for President." I think they liked her idea so much that they thought if she were the president, the whole world would be a nicer place. The end. You know, each one of us can make the world a nicer place. We don't have to do anything that's really big, that makes it into the newspaper or you see on TV on the news. Every little act of kindness that we do for someone, whether we know them or whether we don't know them, puts a little seed into their heart that makes their world a better place, even if it's just for that moment. It would be nice if each one of us got up every day and decided, today I'm going to look for something to do that's going to make someone else feel a little bit better about where they are, feel a little bit better about themselves, or even feel a little bit better about me. So I'm going to challenge you to do that. And if you want to share with me what you're doing to make your world better, I would really love to hear about that. So I'm counting on you. Well, before we end our time together today, I'm going to say a special hello to some of my friends. So today, I want to say hello to Christina, and I want to say hello to Logan, and I want to say hello to Jordan and Addie And Addie, I've been hearing wonderful things about how well you're doing and how your dad and you are really staying physically fit.
Jessica.
That's amazing. I also would like to say hello to Owen. And of course, I always send my special love to Jessica and Dan. And you too, Aubrey. So, before we leave, we know what we need to do, because you can never remember too many times to wash your hands. In fact, I'm very excited because today I got an order from Amazon. And in my order, I got a hand pump dispenser that foams my soap. And when I washed my hands before I started reading my book today, the foam made my hands just feel so soft and nice. So it's just the little things in life that really make it special sometimes. So let's pull up our sleeves. Up we go. Is everybody ready? Are you ready, Addie? Here we go. We're gonna wash those germs away, strong and healthy every day. We make wise choices so we stay well. We're gonna wash those germs away. We're gonna wash those germs away, strong and healthy every day. We're gonna make wise choices so we stay well. We're gonna wash those germs away. We're gonna make wise choices in every way. We're gonna wash those germs away. So, until we get together the next time, enjoy the rest of your day and keep up the good work. Bye now.